Hello everybody and welcome back to the video. Next up we're going to be doing relievers and closing pitchers. Um, so pretty good class this year. There's a lot of good guys on the market. When I've got Kenley Jansen at number 4, I mean that's a solid class all around. Definitely some aging guys towards the back end, but I think the main thing I want to stress personally, my philosophy with the relievers is anyone can be a reliever and anyone can be good, and that doesn't apply to a starting pitcher. You can't turn Rhizo Iglesias into the starter and he'll be good. Like that's just not, or Kenley Jansen. Like it just doesn't really work that way. But with a reliever, it's different. Anyone can be good. Anyone can become a reliever and have an impact in the game. Most of these guys who are the best relievers um, were failed starters. Who are on this list: Joe Kelly, failed starter for the Cardinals and Red Sox. Rhizo Iglesias, failed starter for the Reds. Failed starter for the Reds. Kendall Graveman, failed, decent for the Athletics, but then had a bunch of Tommy Johns. Now he's a great reliever. I believe Aaron Loop was maybe a starter. Who else was a starter here? I think that's it, but maybe Mark Malanson once ago was a starter, but regardless, I'm not a huge fan in spending money on bullpen because I feel like you can get guys from AAA or just arms like Garrett Whitlock from the Rule 5 draft and just plug them into your bullpen. They can be effective. Furthermore, it's also really hard for a reliever to have a good year back to back. We just don't really see that usually, only with the game's best. But it's so much of it is inheriting runners, you know, um, inheriting runners, high leverage situations, lots of pressure, um, and with a closer, like does fit matter or not? Some people have different perspectives on that. Do advanced metrics matter with a closer? And again, like it's not a with starters, like yes, obviously that matters, but with closers, some people have different opinions. Like, if I'm the Mets and Edwin Diaz is blowing all these saves, yeah, he's a great fit, but he's blowing saves. So like, you know, I don't know. So it's definitely something interesting to talk about. For me personally, I want to give my stance. I'm not a huge believer in spending money towards your bullpen. I think you can kind of find those pieces elsewhere and plug them in. That's what the Rays do. It's what the Dodgers do. They did with Jimmy Nelson this year. Rays just find guys off the street and plug them in. Aaron Loop being one of them. So the best teams kind of find those guys off the street and just throw them in the bullpen. Giants also, case in point. So, you know, um, usually the best teams don't spend money on bullpen guys. But that's all I'll say. So first off, the first number one guy I had on our list was Rhizo Iglesias. He's a pretty good closer. Probably top 5 because I don't know. He's got great stuff, and he signed a 4 for $58 million deal, and I think this is way too much money. I had him projected at 2 for 35. Even then, that's kind of a stretch, but 4 years for $58 million, that's just way too much money for a closer. Even I don't care. Like I think Hendricks got 3 for 45, or maybe it was like even less than that. And like he's the light years ahead of Rhizo Iglesias. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that deal at all. It's basically $15 million for the next 4 years for your closer. Um, I also like how shutdown is he? Like if he's coming in late against the Dodgers, like are you really that confident in him? I don't know. I think he's really good, but he's had, won't, he's had some bad years. I don't know. I'm not in favor of that contract at all. I really don't like it. I do like the Aaron Loop deal, which we'll talk about in a sec. But second on the list, I had Kendall Graveman. Great bounce back year. Was good on the Mariners, decent on the Astros. And I think just established himself as someone who's pretty consistent. And it's just going to be a good bullpen arm. He went to the White Sox 3 years for for 24 million, so 8 million average value. Like this a lot. Another guy that's going to help their bullpen out. Not sure what they're going to do with Kimbrel, but now they got Hendricks, Kimbrel, and Graveman. So there's 3 great bullpen arms. They've also got Crochet and Aaron Bummer. So a really good bullpen for them. And I like this a lot. Gonna have a deep bullpen. Third on the list, we've got Aaron Loop. He signed a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Angels. And I like this deal. You know, he's got he's had 2 really good seasons in a row. Like, really, really good. Throws the ball from a different angle, which really helps out. I think he does benefit if he has good guys around him. He can't really be like I don't know if he's your guy who you just bring in as like always going to get you out of that tough situation. Like, I think he benefits from guys who like throw hard. You know, he has the low velocity, weird release point, which really helps him out. But I think if teams continue to see him, maybe they'll figure him out. I don't know. Again, that's a reach, and there's no statistical evidence to back that up. I'm just saying, you know, he's been on the Rays where they had all different types of arm angles, velocities, spin rates, etc. He's been on the Mets. They had a pretty good bullpen last year. They also had some flamethrowers and Edwin Diaz and Miguel Castro. So as long as they can balance it out, I think he's going to be really effective, and he's been outstanding the last 2 years. So great signing by the Angels. They also desperately needed some relief pitching, left-handed relief pitching help. Tony Watson was horrible. Saw him pitch last year, and he sucks. So good job by them with that. But that's $22.5 million in basically maybe a little less than that. It's like $21.5 million in maybe $21 million in Rhizo Iglesias and Aaron Loop. Like 11 million average in those 2 pitchers. That's a lot of money. I feel like you can be more efficient spending that money, but that's just my opinion. Number 4, we've got Kenley Jansen. Let me take a look at his age first, because I know he's old, but I don't know how old he is. Okay, he's 34, so he's still got some years left. I had his projected deal at 1 for $15 million. I don't really know who's going to sign with. I could definitely see the Rays signing him because he's got that power cutter. You know, he's old, out of his prime. Just has Rays written all over it. He's got great stuff, great spin rates. So definitely could see the Rays. I could see the Mariners, and I could see the Astros. You know, the analytics teams definitely signed Kenley Jansen. And I think 1 for 15 is pretty fair. He was good last year, not great. Blew some saves against the Giants in the regular season. I think he was pretty good in the playoffs. So yeah, still high regard for Kenley. Number 5, I have Joe Kelly. I have Joe Kelly at number 5 just because of how outstanding he was last year. I mean, he was really, really good last year. Had a great ERA, was really good in high leverage situations, didn't give up runs. I have him at 2 for 17. I think it's a high chance he resigns with the Dodgers, but the Giants and the Red Sox, I think, also could be interested. And he's still a really solid reliever. You know, probably a number 2 or 3 guy in a bullpen, but really just a solid bolster to any team. So that's why I have him that high. Next up, I have Andrew Chafin from the A's. Solid lefty that's kind of underrated around the league. The A's, you know, classic. They picked up him and Diekman in the last 2 trade deadlines. You know, just 2 under-the-radar lefties that Diekman's also a free agent, but 2 under-the-radar lefties that, you know, no one really knows about but are actually really effective. And he was pretty good for Oakland and the Cubs last year. So he's a solid lefty to bring out of the pen for a team that needs a guy like that. I don't think he's going to get a ton of money again because he's underrated. I think he's going to get 2 for 9, 2 for 8. So yeah, that's number 6. I have Andrew Chafin. Again, with these relievers who aren't going to get a huge contract, they can kind of go anywhere. Like Marlins, Mariners, any team, Reds, like any team that has a little bit of money to spend. Number 7, as we saw, of Mark Malanson, and he went to the D-backs, and the D-backs are in no mood to spend money, I guess. I don't know what they're doing, but number 7, I have Malanson. He had a lot of saves last year, and again, I take stock in that. You know, if you can, no matter how hard the ball is hit, no matter, if you're getting clobbered on every pitch, but you're getting the save, I think that goes to show something that you can get the job done in pressure situations. Um, I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, he had 33 saves, but he had a 5 FIP." Like, that matters with a starter, but with a closer, not as much. Like, with a closer, your job is to get the last 3 guys out of the game and win the game. And however you do that, you can do that. But so, I'm not gonna fuss and complain because guess what? Edwin Diaz, yeah, he had like a 2.75 FIP, but he blew like 10 saves. Mark Melanson didn't do that. So that's part of the reason I think what you need to come towards when you're talking about closers is let's talk about what really matters here, which is getting the save rather than FIP. That's just my opinion. And Mark Melanson had a lot of saves last year. I don't think his peripherals are that great, but he gets the job done. He's been a good closer for a while. So he gets 2 for 7, 2 for 14 from the D-backs. Interesting contract just because he's going to the D-backs. Not sure what they're looking for there, but um, there you go. Number 8, I have Adam Ottavino from the Red Sox. Would really like to see the Boston re-sign him. I have 2 for 6 projected for him. He's probably gonna get more than that, probably 2 for 9. He was a solid setup man for probably three 3/4 of the year, and then he kind of collapsed a bit. And I think no, he didn't blow the game against the Rays, but I think he was like all right in the playoffs. I like his stuff. He has a great slider, and I think he's a, a setup man for a really good playoff team. I really highly regard Ottavino. I loved when the Red Sox brought him in last season, and it was the right move. So I'm a big fan of Ottavino, and I don't know. He probably shouldn't be ahead of Daniel Hudson, who I have at number 9. And case in point, he went to the Dodgers. um, so yeah, I'm a huge fan of Daniel Hudson. Obviously I'm from DC. He was the Nats closer when they won the World Series. Really clutch for them. Just kind of out of nowhere, just starts throwing 99. Um, really poised, accurate, knows what he's doing. He's just a smart pitcher. And Dodgers get him 1 for 7 million, which is a great deal. They're going to use him a lot, and probably a foreshadowing that they don't re-sign Joe Kelly since they're kind of the same pitcher, sort of. Number 10, I have Juris Familia. I also wish I included Jimmy Nelson, who had one of the highest spin rates out of all pitchers, who I also trashed at the beginning of the season, which I apologize for. Jimmy Nelson was a great signing, and more teams need to be like the Dodgers that just find guys like him off the street and bring him into the league, and he's insane. So I wish I had Jimmy Nelson in there. I think he'll probably re-sign with the Dodgers though. So we'll see. But I Familia, he was dominant 2 or 3 years ago. He was decent the last year. I didn't like follow him that much, but still got great stuff. I mean, I think he still throws 97, 98 sinker. And he's still relatively young, so I had him at 1 for 6 million. And I think he can help out a bullpen for sure, and maybe return even to a closing role. So Jimmy Nelson and Jake Diekman are the guys I didn't mention that I definitely would like to give honorable mentions to. There's also our impact guys that they can add to the bullpen, but in the end, it's the bullpen. Not too big of a deal. But most again, half of these guys, on our list next year, we'll see broke out from this year's season. So a lot of it is, who's going to break out to or who fails at us as a starter and then, becomes a bullpen pitcher. So be interesting to see. But anyways, thanks for watching.